Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you've ever taken a close look at the coins in your pocket, you might be sitting on something way more valuable than just a few cents. Today, we're diving into one of the most talked about coins in recent times, the 1982 D Washington quarter. There's a ton of buzz online that one of these coins sold for an unbelievable $1.6 million. That's right, a 25-cent coin, possibly worth over $1.5 million. Sounds crazy, right? But what's the truth behind it? Is this just another internet myth? Or is there something truly special about the 1982 D quarter? We're going to break it all down for you. The history, the facts, the rumors, and the real value behind this modern American coin. Let's start at the beginning. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was first issued to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design was created by John Flanagan and featured a bold portrait of Washington on the front and an eagle with outstretched wings on the back. This classic design remained largely unchanged for decades, making it one of the most familiar coins in American pockets. Now, by 1982, the U.S. Mint was facing a few challenges. Rising metal costs had forced a major change in coin production. Starting in 1965, the Mint had already removed silver from quarters, and by the 1980s, they were using a copper-nickel-clad composition, basically a copper core with a nickel outer layer. But in 1982, something else happened that makes this year especially important for collectors. For the first time in modern history, the U.S. Mint did not produce official mint sets for the public. That means many of the 1982 coins that were minted ended up in circulation, and very few were saved in uncirculated condition. As a result, finding a high-quality, mint-state 1982 D quarter today is much harder than you might think. Now let's talk about the D Mint mark. That stands for the Denver Mint. In 1982, the Denver Mint produced around 480 million quarters. So in terms of mintage, the 1982 D is not particularly rare. But what makes certain 1982 D quarters valuable is all about two things: condition and errors. Let's get into the million-dollar question. Is a 1982 D Washington quarter really worth $1.6 million? To be completely honest, there is no verified public record of any 1982 D quarter ever selling for that amount. That $1.6 million figure is likely a mix of rumor, internet clickbait, and misunderstood listings. Sometimes people list coins for insane prices online just to get attention. But that doesn't mean someone actually paid that amount. Still, there are 1982 D quarters that can fetch serious money under the right conditions. One of the biggest reasons for higher value is condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-70 is in perfect condition, showing no flaws even under magnification. Most 1982 D quarters you find in circulation are heavily worn. But if you find one in high mint state, let's say MS-66 or MS-67, you could be looking at a coin worth hundreds or even over $1,000, depending on market demand. To give you an example, a 1982 D quarter graded MS-67 has sold at auction for over $500. And that's without any error, just a standard coin in near-perfect condition. Imagine what a rare error combined with a high grade could bring. Now let's talk about errors. Error coins are where things get exciting for collectors. One of the most well-known and valuable types of errors for 1982 D quarters is the no mint mark and weak design variety. These coins appear to have a weak or missing design on the reverse, including missing details in the eagle's feathers or the lettering. Some are caused by worn dies at the mint. Others might involve planchet issues, like coins struck on the wrong type of metal or blanks meant for other denominations. There's also a well-known phenomenon with quarters from this era called clad layer missing errors, where the nickel coating is missing on one side of the coin, exposing the copper underneath. This gives the coin a distinctive reddish or pinkish tone on one side. If it's a true mint error and not just post-mint damage, it could be worth hundreds, possibly more. Where does this all lead us? Is it possible for a 1982 D Washington quarter to be worth $1.6 million? It's extremely unlikely, unless we're talking about a unique, one-of-a-kind error that has never been seen before. Maybe a double denomination coin, or a prototype that escaped the mint by mistake. But as of now, there's no confirmed auction or collector sale that proves that any 1982 D quarter has ever sold for over $1 million. However, the real value of this coin lies in how uncommon it is to find a high-grade example, especially since no mint sets were issued that year. That makes uncirculated 1982 D quarters more collectible, and collectors are always on the lookout for pristine examples and rare error varieties. If you want to check your own coins, here's what to look for. First, make sure the coin is a 1982 D The mint mark will be just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the front of the coin. Next, check the condition. Is the coin shiny? Are the details crisp? Or are they worn down? If it looks nearly perfect, it might be worth getting professionally graded. Then, examine both sides of the coin closely. Look for signs of doubling, missing layers, off-center strikes, or anything unusual. A good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can really help here. That if you think you've found something rare or valuable, consider sending it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate the coin and assign it a grade, which is critical for determining its value. All right, let's wrap this up. The 1982 D Washington quarter is not some ordinary piece of change. While most of them are only worth 25 cents, certain rare examples, especially those with mint errors or in high mint state condition, can be worth a lot more. Hundreds, even thousands of dollars in some cases. But the viral stories about a $1.6 million 1982 D quarter? Probably exaggerated or misunderstood. That said, there are valuable versions of this coin out there. And the only way to find one is to check your change, look closely, and know what to look for. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins, rare errors, and the hidden treasures that might be sitting in your pocket right now, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. Drop a comment below if you've got a 1982 D quarter or if you've ever found a valuable coin in circulation. I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and always check your change. You never know when a simple quarter could turn into something truly life-changing. Let me know if you'd like a version that includes ideas for visuals, text overlays, or on-screen animations to match the video. Welcome back to the channel. If you love coins, hidden treasures, and surprising stories hiding in everyday pocket change, then today's video is just for you. We're going to talk about one of the most fascinating and talked about coins in American numismatics, the 1966 Washington quarter. Rarest coins now. You may have seen headlines or videos claiming that one of these coins sold for a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yes, we're talking about a simple 25-cent coin minted in the 1960s, supposedly worth more than some luxury homes. Oh, what's the truth behind this 1966 quarter? Could there really be a coin out there from that year that commands that kind of money? What makes it special? And what should you be looking for if you think you might have one? Let's break it all down. We'll cover the history of the 1966 quarter, why this coin stands out, what types of errors make it valuable, and whether there's any truth behind that $1.7 million figure. Let's start with some background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The original design by John Flanagan featured a bold profile of Washington on the front and an eagle with spread wings on the reverse. This classic design remained largely unchanged until the state quarters program launched in 1999. Now, the year 1966 was a very unique time in the history of U.S. coinage. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the United States Mint made a huge change. It removed all silver content from quarters. Prior to that, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But starting in 1965, due to the rising cost of silver, the mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. The 1966 quarter is one of the early clad coins, and even though it looks just like the quarters we use today, there's more to it than meets the eye. One interesting fact about 1966 quarters is that none of them have mint marks. That's because, from 1965 to 1967, the U.S. Mint temporarily removed all mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding. People were collecting coins by mint location, and the mint wanted to stabilize coin circulation. So even though the 1966 quarter was struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia and Denver, there are no identifying mint marks on the coins. Now let's talk about quantity. In 1966, the U.S. Mint struck over 821 million quarters. That's a huge number. So the coin itself is not rare in terms of how many were made. But that doesn't mean all 1966 quarters are worthless. In fact, a few of them are highly valuable, and in some rare cases, they've sold for thousands of dollars at auction. But what about the $1.7 million claim? Well, let's be honest. There is no official record of a 1966 Washington quarter ever selling for $1.7 million. That number is most likely based on internet rumors, clickbait headlines, or misunderstandings. Sometimes people list coins online for ridiculous prices, hoping someone will bite. But that doesn't mean those coins are actually worth that amount or have sold for that much. That being said, some 1966 quarters can be worth serious money, and the key lies in two main areas: condition and mint errors. Let's start with condition. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS-70 being a perfect, mint-state coin with no flaws visible under magnification. Most 1966 quarters you'll find in circulation today are heavily worn from decades of use. But a 1966 quarter in mint condition, uncirculated, sharp details, full luster, can be worth a lot more than face value. For example, a 1966 Washington quarter graded MS-67 by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can sell for hundreds of dollars. One example sold at auction for over $3,000 simply because it was nearly perfect and incredibly well preserved. The higher the grade, the higher the price. Now let's talk about where things get really exciting. Mint errors. Collectors go crazy for coins with dramatic minting mistakes. And while errors from 1966 are not super common, they do exist. Some of the most valuable types of errors include double die obverse, where parts of the design or lettering appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. Off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly centered and part of the design is missing. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is cut off during production. Wrong planchet strikes, where a quarter is accidentally struck on a dime or penny planchet, resulting in a coin with the wrong size, weight, or metal composition. Coins with these kinds of errors can easily sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and the grade. Another incredibly rare possibility would be a transitional error, a coin struck using the wrong metal for that year. Now remember, in 1964 quarters were still made of silver. So if a silver planchet from 1964 somehow got used to strike a 1966 quarter, that would be an extremely rare and valuable mistake. Such coins are nearly impossible to find, but they do exist in other years. If one were ever authenticated from 1966, it could easily bring in tens of thousands, maybe even more. So to recap, is a 1966 Washington quarter likely worth $1.7 million? Probably not. That number is more myth than fact. But could your 1966 quarter be worth something far more than 25 cents? Absolutely, especially if it's in pristine condition or has a rare mint error. So what should you look for? Start by checking the coin's overall condition. If it looks clean, shiny, and well struck, it might be worth submitting to a grading service. Next, look closely for any unusual details. Is the design off-center? Do the letters or numbers appear doubled? Is the color strange, or does it feel lighter or heavier than normal? Use a magnifying glass to examine both sides of the coin closely. If you think you found something rare, don't clean the coin. That can ruin its value. Instead, consult a reputable coin dealer or send it to a grading company like PCGS or NGC for authentication. Let's wrap this up. The 1966 Washington quarter may not be the million-dollar coin the internet wants it to be, but it's far from worthless. With the right condition or rare error, this coin can absolutely be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And the best part? It might be sitting in your change jar right now, waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, valuable errors, and the hidden treasures hiding in plain sight, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment below and let me know. Have you ever found an old or rare quarter in your change? Or maybe you've got a 1966 quarter you want to know more about. Let's talk about it in the comments. Until next time, keep your eyes open, check your change, and happy collecting. If you'd like a follow-up script for another coin or a version that includes visual cues and on-screen text ideas, let me know and I can add that too. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you've ever looked at the change in your pocket and wondered if any of those coins might actually be worth a fortune, today's video is going to blow your mind. Because we're diving deep into one particular coin that has sparked huge interest in the coin collecting world, the 1981 P. Washington quarter. Now, before you toss that old quarter into a vending machine, you might want to take a closer look. Because believe it or not, there are stories floating around about a 1981 P quarter being worth as much as $1.5 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.5 million. But is it true? Is your average pocket change hiding a millionaire's secret? Or is there more to the story? Let's break it all down, starting with a little background. First, let's talk about the Washington quarter itself. The design was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. The obverse side, or head side, features a profile of President Washington. It was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, and it has remained mostly unchanged for decades, becoming one of the most iconic American coins in circulation. Now fast forward to 1981. This was a year when the U.S. Mint struck millions of quarters at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coin we're talking about today, the 1981 P quarter, was minted in Philadelphia. You can identify it by the tiny P mint mark located on the obverse side. just to the right of Washington's ponytail. The Philadelphia Mint produced around 601 million of these quarters in 1981. That's a massive number. So naturally, people ask, how can a coin that common be worth anything close to $1.5 million? The answer lies in the details. Minting errors, condition, rarity, and collector demand. So let's tackle this million-dollar question. Is a 1981 P. Washington quarter really worth $1.5 million? Well, here's the truth. There is no officially documented sale of any 1981 P quarter selling for that much. No major auction house, no verified transaction, nothing that confirms that number. But that doesn't mean the coin can't be valuable. Let's get into the reasons why some of these coins are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and why the million-dollar myth still circulates. First, let's talk about mint errors. Collectors go wild for error coins. That includes coins with double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even coins struck on the wrong metal. In the case of the 1981 P quarter, some rare error varieties have been found. One of the most well-known is the double die obverse, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a mistake in the minting process. These kinds of errors can dramatically increase the value of the coin, especially if it's in great condition. Then, there's the matter of condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, mint-state coin. Most quarters from 1981 that you find in circulation today are heavily worn. But if you happen to have a coin that's in uncirculated condition, meaning it looks like it just came from the mint, it could be worth significantly more. In fact, 1981 P quarters graded at MS66 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC have sold for hundreds of dollars. And in a few rare cases, coins with flawless surfaces and exceptional strikes can fetch even higher prices at auction. Where does the $1.5 million figure come from? Well, this claim likely comes from rumors or exaggerated posts online, possibly tied to very rare off-metal errors or simply misunderstandings. Sometimes people list coins online for ridiculous prices just to get attention or clicks, but that doesn't mean anyone is actually paying that amount. That said, there's still a reason to be excited about the 1981 P quarter. Because if you find the right error or a high-grade specimen, you could be looking at a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let me give you an example. In 2019, a 1981 P quarter graded MS67 by PCGS sold for over $1,000 at auction. And that's not because it had an error. It was simply in incredibly pristine condition. That gives you an idea of what collectors are willing to pay for the highest quality coins, even modern ones. What should you look for in your change? Number 1. Check the mint mark. You're looking for a P from Philadelphia. Number 2. Examine the coin for any strange features, doubling in the lettering, weird edges, off-center designs, or anything unusual. And number 3. Pay close attention to the condition. The fewer scratches and the more luster, the better. If you think you found something special, consider sending it to a professional grading service. It costs a little money, but if your coin is the real deal, it could be worth it. Alright, so let's wrap this up. Is your 1981 P. Washington quarter likely worth $1.5 million? Realistically, no. That's a myth. But is it worth checking your coins? Absolutely. Because there are valuable 1981 P quarters out there, and if you know what to look for, you might just find one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more deep dives into valuable coins, rare finds, and hidden treasures you might already own, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. And let me know in the comments, have you ever found a rare or valuable coin in your change? Until next time, keep collecting, stay curious, and check your pockets. You never know what you might find. Let me know if you want a version with callouts for graphics or visuals to use in the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a modern coin that's got the internet buzzing, the 1997 P. Washington quarter. There are claims out there saying that one of these coins could be worth as much as $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single 25-cent coin potentially worth over $1 million. Now I know what you're thinking. How can a regular quarter from the 1990s possibly be worth that much? Well, we're about to dive deep into the history of the 1997 P. Washington quarter, talk about how it came to be, what makes some of these coins valuable, and whether or not the $1.3 million claim has any truth to it. Let's start with some background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. It was first released to commemorate the 200th birthday of the first U.S. president, George Washington. The design on the obverse side, the portrait of Washington, was created by sculptor John Flanagan, and for decades, it remained largely unchanged. By 1997, The coin had gone through several small changes over the years, mostly to the details and the finish, but it still featured the iconic image of Washington on the front and the American eagle on the reverse. This was just before the 50-state quarters program began in 1999, so the 1997 version is one of the last of the original eagle-back design before the big design overhaul. In 1997, the Philadelphia Mint produced around 595 million quarters. That's a huge number. So right off the bat, we know that the coin itself is not rare in terms of mintage. You probably have one or two in your house right now. So what's all this talk about a $1.3 million quarter? Let's break it down. When someone claims that a coin is worth over $1 million, there are usually only a few reasons why that could be true. Either the coin is extremely rare due to a mint error, it's in absolutely perfect condition, or it has some kind of unique historical significance. So let's go through these one by one. First, mint errors. Coins with significant mint errors can be incredibly valuable to collectors. These include things like double dies, off-center strikes, coins struck on the wrong metal planchet, and more. Now, in the case of the 1997 P quarter, there are a few known error coins out there. One of the more talked about errors is when a 1997 P quarter was struck on a planchet intended for a different coin, such as a dime or a foreign denomination. Coins like these are extremely rare, and when authenticated, they can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. However, there's currently no verified 1997 P quarter error that has sold for $1.3 million. So if you've seen that number floating around, it's most likely based on online rumors, misinterpretations, or exaggerated listings meant to attract attention. That said, it's not entirely out of the question that a previously undiscovered error could surface and shake up the market. That's why collectors always keep their eyes open. Second, coin condition. The grading system for coins goes from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, mint-state coin with no marks visible even under magnification. Most coins you find in circulation today are nowhere near that level. But if you find a 1997 P quarter that's uncirculated, shiny, perfectly struck, and gets graded MS68 or higher, that coin can absolutely fetch some serious money. For example, 1997 P quarters graded MS67 by PCGS or NGC can be worth anywhere from $20 to $100 depending on the market and buyer demand. If someone managed to submit a flawless MS70 coin, which is extremely rare for a quarter from the 90s, it could become a one-of-a-kind piece. That's the kind of coin that could, in theory, bring in big money at auction. Now let's be clear. Even if a 1997 P quarter did get a perfect MS70 grade, the odds of it being worth $1.3 million are still incredibly slim. That kind of value is usually reserved for historic coins with extreme rarity, like ultra-rare gold coins from the 1800s or prototype mint errors that were never meant to be released. So while it's fun to dream, the million-dollar number is likely a myth, or at best, a massive overestimate. But that doesn't mean you should ignore your pocket change. Because here's the thing, many valuable coins are hiding in plain sight. A 1997 P quarter with a unique error or an exceptionally high grade could still sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And if you're the first person to discover a new type of error, that coin could become historically significant, which would push its value way up. Here are a few tips if you want to go hunting. First, look for anything unusual. Check for doubling in the lettering or date. Look at the edges for clipping or off-center designs. Examine the metal color. Does it look like a different type of coin? Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to check for fine details. Second, pay attention to condition. A shiny, scratch-free coin is always worth more than a beat-up one. If you think you have a mint-state coin, you can send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC to get it professionally graded. Third, don't fall for online hype. Just because someone is listing a coin for $1.3 million on eBay doesn't mean that's what it's actually worth. Always check completed sales, look for certified auctions, and do your research before making any big moves that let sum it all up. The 1997 P Washington quarter is a common coin in circulation, but under the right circumstances, it can be worth more than face value. Error coins, especially ones struck on the wrong planchet, can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars. Coins in pristine, mint-state condition can bring in high prices from serious collectors. But the idea that a regular 1997 P quarter is worth $1.3 million? That's almost certainly a myth, or at least not supported by any verified sales. Still, there's a real thrill in checking your coins and knowing that even modern quarters could hide a small fortune. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable modern coins, rare errors, and hidden gems in your pocket change, Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever found a rare or valuable quarter? Or do you think you might be holding on to something special? I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, happy hunting, and always check your change. You never know when a simple quarter could turn into a big payday. Let me know if you'd like a shorter version or want visuals or on-screen text suggestions to go along with the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're exploring a coin that's been making waves online, the 2014 D-quarter dollar. There's been a lot of talk, especially on social media and YouTube, about this coin being worth an unbelievable $1.2 million. That's right, a regular-looking 25-cent coin from 2014, allegedly worth over $1 million. But is that actually true? Could you really be holding a small fortune in your pocket without even knowing it? Or is this another case of internet hype gone wild? In this video, we're going to break it all down. We'll talk about the origin and history of the 2014 D-quarter, why some people think it's worth so much, what rare versions are actually valuable, and what you should be looking for in your own coin collection. Let's start with the basics. The 2014 D-quarter is part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, which ran from 2010 through 2021. Each year, the U.S. Mint released 5 new designs, each one representing a national park or historic site from a different state or U.S. territory. The reverse of each quarter in the series featured a unique design honoring that specific location. Now, the D Mint mark on the 2014 D-quarter means it was minted in Denver, Colorado. The Denver Mint produced millions of these coins, and there are actually 5 different 2014 D-quarters, one for each site honored that year. 1. Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee. 2. Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. 3. Arches National Park in Utah. 4. Great Sand Dunes in Colorado. 5. Everglades National Park in Florida. Each quarter has a different reverse design, and all feature George Washington's portrait on the obverse. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the $1.2 million price tag that some people are claiming online. Here's the truth. As of now, there is no official record or auction sale confirming that any 2014 D-quarter has sold for $1.2 million. That number likely comes from either an exaggerated online listing, clickbait articles, or viral social media posts. It's not uncommon for people to list coins on eBay for outrageous amounts in hopes of going viral, and often, that's exactly what happens. But that doesn't mean these quarters are worthless. In fact, some 2014 D-quarters can be quite valuable under the right conditions. Let's break down what actually makes a modern quarter valuable. The first factor is condition. Coin collectors use the Sheldon grading scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-70 is considered a flawless, mint-state coin, perfect even under 5x magnification. Most coins you find in circulation are nowhere near that level. They've been handled, scratched, or worn down. But if you happen to have a 2014 D-quarter in high mint state condition, such as MS-67 or MS-68, and it's been professionally graded by a company like PCGS or NGC, then it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the demand and rarity of that specific variety. For example, a 2014 D Great Sand Dunes quarter graded MS-68 has sold for over $1,000 at auction. Other high-grade examples from the same year can sell for $200 to $800 depending on population reports and demand from collectors. Now let's talk about the second major factor, errors and varieties. This is where things get really interesting. Modern coins, including the 2014 D-quarters, are not immune to minting mistakes. In fact, errors are what drive some of the biggest prices in the coin collecting world. Here are some valuable errors to look for in 2014 D-quarters. 1. Double die errors. These happen when the coin's die strikes the planchet more than once, creating visible doubling in the lettering, date, or design. If you see any doubling in God We Trust or the park names on the reverse, it's worth a closer look. Point 2. Off-center strikes. A coin that is visibly off-center can be a dramatic and valuable error. The more off-center the strike is, while still showing the date and mint mark, the more collectible it becomes. Point 3. Clipped planchet errors. This is when a part of the coin's edge is missing because of an error in the blank cutting process. These are easy to spot and highly collectible. Point 4. Struck on the wrong planchet. This is one of the rarest and most valuable types of mint errors. Imagine a quarter struck on a nickel or dime blank. The coin would be smaller and lighter than normal. These errors can sell for thousands of dollars. Point 5. Struck through errors. Sometimes, debris or foreign objects come between the die and the coin during minting, leaving behind unique impressions or marks. These are rare and can increase a coin's value significantly. If you find a 2014 D-quarter with one of these errors, especially in high grade, then you might be looking at a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But what would it take for one of these coins to reach that $1.2 million price? Well, realistically, it would have to be something truly extraordinary, like a previously unknown mint error of massive significance, possibly a one-of-a-kind coin. It would need to be authenticated by experts and then sold at a major auction house with intense bidding from top-level collectors. That's the kind of scenario where a modern coin might approach that kind of value. But so far, there is no verified 2014 D-quarter that has come close to that price point. So what should you do if you think you found a valuable quarter? Here's a quick checklist. 1. Check the design. Identify which park the coin represents. All 5 2014 D-quarters are different. Point 2. Inspect the coin's condition. Is it uncirculated? Does it have any scratches, marks, or wear? 3. Look for errors. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to inspect the coin closely. Pay attention to the lettering, date, and rim. Point 4. Weigh the coin. A standard quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, it could be struck on the wrong planchet. Point 5. Consider professional grading. If the coin looks flawless or shows a clear error, it might be worth sending to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Point 6. Avoid cleaning the coin. Cleaning coins can reduce their value drastically. Collectors and grading services want coins in their natural, untouched state. Let's wrap this up. The 2014 D-quarter might not be worth $1.2 million, at least not yet, but that doesn't mean it's not worth your attention. While most are only worth face value, high-grade examples and rare errors can bring in impressive amounts of money. It's a perfect example of why coin collecting is so exciting. You never know when a small detail or hidden mistake could turn a common coin into a serious payday. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next coin breakdown. And if you've got a 2014 D-quarter or think you found a rare coin, tell us about it in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep checking your change, keep learning, and happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like an even shorter version for YouTube Shorts or want this turned into a video storyboard with scene ideas and visuals. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a coin that stirred up a lot of attention online, the 1998 Washington quarter. There are claims that one of these coins has sold for a staggering $1.2 million. That's right, a 25-cent coin from the late 90s, supposedly worth more than a Lamborghini. So, is there any truth behind this story? Is the 1998 quarter really a hidden fortune in your pocket change? Or is this just another internet myth? Today, we're going to uncover the truth about this coin, its history, design, mintage numbers, valuable errors, and what makes certain examples incredibly collectible. Let's get into it. Let's start with some quick background. The Washington quarter has been a part of American currency since 1932. It was originally designed to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. For decades, the coin carried the iconic image of Washington on the front and an eagle on the reverse. That design remained in use until the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. That makes the 1998 Washington quarter historically important. It's the last year of the traditional eagle-back design before the state quarters began the following year. So in a way, the 1998 quarter marked the end of an era. Now, the P on the coin stands for the Philadelphia Mint, which struck over 896 million of these quarters in 1998. With numbers like that, it's easy to assume that the coin isn't rare. And to be honest, most 1998 quarters are still only worth face value. But here's where things get interesting. Even though the coin itself is common, there are certain 1998 quarters that collectors are going crazy for. The reason? Rare mint errors and exceptionally high grades. Let's talk about that $1.2 million claim first. Is there a verified record of a 1998 quarter selling for $1.2 million? The short answer is no. There is no official auction, no documented private sale, and no listing from a major grading service or auction house confirming that one of these coins sold for that amount. So where does the $1.2 million figure come from? Most likely, it's based on exaggerated listings, clickbait titles, or social media posts designed to grab attention. It happens often in the coin world. Someone lists a common coin for $1 million on eBay, and people start sharing it as fact. But that doesn't mean someone actually bought it. That said, some 1998 quarters are valuable, and in certain cases, they've sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let's start with coin condition. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale. A coin graded MS70 is considered a perfect mint state coin with no flaws, not even under magnification. Most coins you find in pocket change are far from perfect. They've been through years of wear and tear, but every now and then, someone finds a 1998 P quarter in near-perfect condition. We're talking MS67 or higher. Those coins can be worth significantly more than face value. A 1998 P Washington quarter graded MS67 has sold for over $400 at auction. If a coin were ever found in MS68 or higher, it could bring in even more, simply because of how rare that level of preservation is for a coin struck for circulation. Now let's get into the exciting part. Mint errors. One of the most famous errors involving the 1998 P quarter is the so-called wide AM reverse, where the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the back of the coin is wider than normal. But let me clarify, this specific variety is more famous with Lincoln cents, not quarters. Still, collectors often confuse this terminology, and some try to apply it to quarters as well. With quarters, the most valuable errors come from coins struck on the wrong planchet. For example, a 1998 P quarter struck on a planchet intended for a dime or a foreign coin. These types of off-metal errors are very rare and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how dramatic the error is. Other types of valuable errors include double die obverse, where parts of the design, especially the date or lettering, appear doubled due to a mistake during die creation. Off-center strikes, where the design is not properly centered, sometimes cutting off parts of Washington's portrait or the lettering. Clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin is missing due to a mistake during the cutting of the blanks. Struck through errors, where a foreign object like a piece of cloth or metal gets between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving a unique mark. Any of these errors on a 1998 P quarter can push its value far beyond face value, especially if the coin is in good condition. Now, what if someone really does have a rare and unknown error? Could a coin like that possibly reach seven figures? In theory, yes. If a one-of-a-kind, previously undiscovered mint error were authenticated and confirmed by a grading service like PCGS or NGC, and if it gained attention from top collectors, it could reach astronomical values. But that would be an extremely rare situation, and there's no public record of it ever happening with a 1998 P quarter to date. What should you be looking for? First, check your coin for the P mint mark. That means it came from the Philadelphia Mint. Then, look carefully at the condition. Is it shiny? Does it have full details? No major scratches? If so, you might want to consider getting it graded professionally. Then examine both sides of the coin for anything strange or unusual. Look for doubling, missing details, uneven edges, weird colors, or anything that seems off. A magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe will help you spot details that could make your coin valuable. And remember, never clean your coin. Cleaning reduces its value instantly. Collectors and grading services prefer coins in original, untouched condition. Let's sum it up. The 1998 P Washington quarter is a historically important coin. It marks the final year of the classic eagle-back design. While most are only worth face value, a small number can be worth hundreds or even thousands due to rare mint errors or perfect condition. As for the idea that a 1998 P quarter sold for $1.2 million, that's likely just a rumor or exaggeration. But that doesn't mean this coin is worthless. On the contrary, if you find the right error or an exceptionally high-grade example, you could be sitting on a hidden gem. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins, rare mint errors, and the hidden treasures hiding in your spare change, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. And hey, if you've got a 1998 P quarter or you've ever found something unusual in your pocket change, drop a comment below. Let's talk about it. Until next time, keep your eyes open, check your change, and happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like this adapted into a short-form script for TikTok or YouTube Shorts, or if you'd like visuals and on-screen text prompts added to this for editing.